Now I'd like to introduce Mark Champley, which is our first speaker. Mark is a highly respected Aboriginal community leader with a strong commitment to Aboriginal equality, reconciliation and cultural engagement, and a comprehensive knowledge of Aboriginal history and culture. He's worked in transport for 35 years, including Sydney Ferries, New South Wales Trains, and Transport for New South Wales. Mark has held a number of board positions, and a number of Aboriginal organisations appointed him as the uncle of a prestigious St Joseph's College in 2014, 2017 to support the Indigenous students. Mark is passionate about reconciliation and is an expert in the development implementation of the Reconciliation Action Plan, and has worked tirelessly to facilitate and transfer of Lady Northcott to Tribal Warrior, and he's very excited about this dream becoming a reality. So over to you, Mark.
A disaster in Tasmania in 1975, killing 12 people, has a strong connection to the Lady Northcott. I'm Mark Champley, and I would like to take you on a journey and share with you the history of the Lady Northcott. In the early 1970s, Sydney Ferries Manly ferry fleet was ageing. The most modern ferry was the South Stein, which was built in 1938. It was decided the two ferries that were being constructed in Newcastle at the time, the Lady Northcott and the Lady Wakehurst, that their bow would be increased and have extra gangway, so they could be substituted for the Manly ferry service. After a fire on the South Stein in 1974, this forced the Lady Wakehurst, the sister vessel to the Lady Northcott, to be immediately brought into service. On the 5th of January 1975, the unthinkable happened. The Tasman Bridge collapsed after being struck by a freighter on the Durham River in Hobart, killing 12 people and cutting off the eastern suburbs of Hobart from the mainland. This caused many social issues. The Tasmanian government at the time reached out to the other states, and the New South Wales government sent down the Lady Wakehurst and the Kosciuszko to help ferry people from the eastern suburbs of Hobart to the mainland. This brought into play the Lady Northcott and came out of the Carrickon slipways in 1975 and was put into service for the Manly run. The cost of the Lady Northcott at the time was $780,000. The Lady Northcott is a double-ended steel passenger ferry of 366 gross tonnes. Its length is just under 144 feet, and the breadth is just under 34 feet. It has a speed of 13 knots and the passenger capacity of 800. The Lady Northcott proudly serviced the Manly run from 1975 to 1977. On the return of the Lady Wakehurst in 1977, the Lady Northcott moved to the Inner Harbour service. Here it was used for the Mossman, Neutral Bay runs, also the Garden Island and Cockatoo Island services, which was both still operating dockyards. It was primarily used for Taronga Zoo, and it was the only ferry at the time that could actually clear the wharf when it was full during those busy summer days. It was also used for harbour cruises, charters, and continued to work as a backup Manly ferry service when required. I joined Sydney Ferries in 1988, and I was trained on all inner harbour ferries, including the Lady Northcott. This, I feel, has given me a very close affinity with the ferries and especially the Lady Northcott. The Lady Wakehurst was sold in 1997 to an organisation in New Zealand. Would you believe it sailed under its own steam to New Zealand and was used as a charter boat for the America's Cup sailing event? The Lady Street was taken out of service in 2002 and sadly was broken up as scrap on Goat Island, a planned disposal approach, which would have been the case for the Lady Northcott if not intervened. I left Sydney Ferries in late 2016 and I joined Transport for New South Wales. I was very fortunate at the time. I was shadowing a deputy secretary as a development opportunity. And at this time, the news of the retirement of the Lady Northcott came up. I actually raised the idea of gifting the Lady Northcott to Tribal Warrior, a non-for-profit Aboriginal maritime business. At the time, it was discussed, but it wasn't taken up, unfortunately. I'll fast forward to April 2020, and I'm a strong believer that our ancestral spirits are guiding us. I was at home during COVID, and by pure coincidence, I walked through my home and saw a news clip of the Lady Northcott being towed out of Sydney Harbour. This at the time saddened me, but thankfully, Transport for New South Wales had launched its very first RAP in 2019. And this gave business a lot more structure on how to close the gap and support Aboriginal organisations. The three pillars of our RAP and all RAPs are relationships, respect and opportunities. This closely aligned with the opportunity of gifting the Lady Northcott to Tribal Warrior. What I did, I actually approached Transport again, explaining the alignment of gifting the ferry to Tribal Warrior with our Reconciliation Action Plan. This time, because we had the structure and we had the backing of our senior leaders, Tribal Warrior was approached to see if they were interested, asked to put in a submission, and thankfully that was very well received and successful. At the same time, having a close connection with a number of Sydney Ferries current and retired employees, we're able to organise the Friends of Lady Northcott. So this is a group of skippers, both current and retired, engineers, retired and current, trainers and deckhands that have all come together and are volunteering their time to support this wonderful project. I feel the Lady Northcott project shows how government assets can be repurposed for the good of the entire community. And I truly believe this project can actually change the heart of Sydney. Seeing the Lady Northcott on the harbour, representing all of us, including Tribal Warrior, I think will be a very powerful statement for not just Sydney-siders, not just Australians, but the whole world. Thank you, Cass.